We're diving deep into the top 5 things I wish I knew when I started bass fishing. After watching this video, you will be dialed in on the proper rod and reel combo to start with techniques you should start with right away, which are gonna have you catching fish in no time. You'll know how to choose the best fishing line to start with. I'm also explaining why research is gonna be your secret weapon and why patience and persistence are the true game changers for you. Stick around to the end because I'm not just giving you tips, I'm handing you 5 keys to bass fishing success right away. First thing that we're going to talk about is having the proper rod and reel combo to start off with. You definitely don't need to go out there and get a cheap one, and you definitely need to go out there and get a most expensive one that you can on the market. Somewhere right in the middle is where I would definitely want you guys to go. I think going with something like the 6 Sense Lux or the 6 Sense Milliken spinning rod in that medium to medium heavy action possibly are right where you want to be. Those kinds of rods are going to be able to be sensitive enough to be able to feel the bottom and detect those bites, which are super key in bass fishing. So I use these rods to this day. I rely upon them for my tournament fishing. They're gonna cost you a little bit over $100, so they're not gonna break the bank, but they aren't the cheapest on the market. And I think that that's key. You don't wanna have the cheapest stuff because you're not gonna be able to do everything that you're gonna want to do as a new fisherman. These are going to provide you the sensitivity that you need to feel the bottom and also to detect those bites, because sometimes that's the most difficult part of the process, is knowing what the bottom feels like and knowing what a bite feels like, and having a sensitive rod is going to be able to help you to decipher which one is which. When it comes to spinning reels aren't all created equal as well. You definitely don't need to go high end because those can be up around $1,000. You don't need to go super low end because they're just not going to function like you need them to. When you're fishing a spinning reel, you want to probably be around that $100 price point as well. A $100 spinning reel is going to have a drag that's going to be effective because when you're catching some big fish, you need that drag to be there. And it's also going to be smooth enough that you're not going to have any frustration just fishing that reel. A couple that I suggest is the Daiwa Fuego and the Shimano NASCI. I've used both of those. They're around that $100 price point, and I think you'd be very, very happy with that rod and reel combo that I just mentioned. I imagine you guys are gonna be watching videos on YouTube just like this one, and you're gonna wanna go out there and use the information that you're learning. This rod and reel combo is gonna allow you to do that. It's gonna have the sensitivity, it's gonna have the durability, it's just gonna be able to do what you need it to do in these beginning stages and in the more experienced stages of your fishing. So now that we have the rod and reel kind of dialed into what we might want to start off with, something that's going to be durable and dependable, we're going to get into some best techniques that I think are going to complement that rod and reel combo really, really well. Knowing your limitations and knowing your equipment is key up front. And when we're picking the specific baits and the specific techniques that we're going to be using, we have to keep the rod and reel in mind. Baits like a Texas rig, a Ned rig, and a drop shot are going to complement this rod and reel combo really, really well. Those techniques are going to be paramount to your success. I imagine one of my first bass that I've ever caught was on a Texas rig. I've caught tons of fish on Ned rigs, and I've caught tons of fish on the drop shot. Those baits and those techniques catch fish year-round and all over the country. The goal in bass fishing is to catch fish. If we're not catching fish, we're probably not having fun, and we're getting frustrated with the process. Picking techniques like the Texas rig, the drop shot, and the Ned rig are going to set you up for the most amount of bites, the most amount of success, and the most amount of fun, hopefully, that you can have as a beginner. So now that we know the rod and reel combo that we're going to be using and some of the techniques that we're going to be using, now we can make our line choice. If you search for lines, you're going to be inundated with different types of line, different brands of line. So I'm going to try to simplify it for you guys. And I think I have a little bit of a unique perspective on this. My recommendation is for you guys to use a braid to fluorocarbon leader on this beginner stage of your bass fishing. And I have that set up that way for a couple different reasons. The braided line is super sensitive. It's got minimal stretch, so you're gonna help you feel everything. It's gonna help you get good hook sets into those fish. And then that fluorocarbon is gonna be almost invisible to those fish, so you're getting that invisibility. Those fish are gonna be more likely to bite your baits, and the fluorocarbon is also something that doesn't have a lot of stretch, so that sensitivity is gonna be there for you to feel those bites. So what this means is that you're going to spool up your spinning reel full of braided line, and then you're going to use a shorter section of a fluorocarbon leader with a connection knot. That connection knot's gonna combine that braided line and that fluorocarbon leader to make it function as one line. The connection knot that I like to use is the uni to uni knot. There's a lot of different knot options out there, so do some YouTube research and find the one that you can tie the best. That's the most important part, is being able to tie it well and be able to tie it consistently. The one that I found that works best for me is the uni to uni knot. So one added benefit to using the braided line to the fluorocarbon leader is that braided line is going to last you a long time. So you're not going to be replacing it all the time. It's just going to last you a long time. So you're not having to go out and constantly buy more line. That fluorocarbon leader is going to be saving you money as well, because fluorocarbon is a little bit more on the expensive side when it comes to line, and using that shorter 8 to 10 foot leader is really going to allow that fluorocarbon spool of line to last you a long time. Something else with fluorocarbon that I don't like on my spinning reels is that fluorocarbon a lot of times likes to jump off of that reel and get all tangled up, and then you kind of just waste an entire spool of line. Using that braided line, it doesn't have the likelihood of doing that, and then you're not having to waste spools of fluorocarbon line that are expensive. So combining the two like that gives me the best results, and I think it's going to be the least frustrating for you guys and set you up for the most success. So when you're going out and picking this braided line to the fluorocarbon leader, I'd recommend going with a 10 or a 12 pound test braided main line, and then getting a spool of 8-pound test fluorocarbon to be able to use for your leader. That 8 to 12 pound test casts really well off of that spinning reel, and then that 8-pound test is going to be perfect for all those techniques that I mentioned already. So down in the description of today's video, I'm going to put some product lists, some discount codes, some links to different websites where you can get some of this stuff that I'm talking about in today's video. Just please use those links and please use those discount codes, because one's going to save you money, and those links and those discount codes will let those companies know that I sent you over there. Now we need to learn how to actually fish these different baits to fish that Texas rig. We need to learn how to set it up. We need to learn how to fish it. We need to learn how to retrieve it. And that's where research comes into play. Research is going to be your key. It's going to speed up your learning curve. Research and actually going fishing are the keys to your success. Simple things about learning how to cast, learning how to set the hook, learning how to detect a bite, learning how to do all these different things within bass fishing are going to set you up for success. Nowadays, with YouTube and different blog posts and different articles that you can read and watch, your learning curve can go faster and faster and faster. That's how these young guys out there on the Bassmaster Elite Series are dominating a lot of these tournaments. They've been able to grow up fishing and just getting all this information, being able to go out on the water and apply this information, and that learning has just increased exponentially. So subscribing to people like myself on YouTube that are going to be able to provide you content like this, that are going to help you catch more fish, is also key. Finding some people that you can trust, they give you good advice, they give you good gear, they give you good baits, they give you good techniques. That stuff's going to go a long way in your bass fishing journey. So another thing that's going to greatly help you with your bass fishing is being patient and being persistent. Bass fishing requires patience. A lot of these techniques that I mentioned in today's video that are going to help you catch fish right now are slower moving presentations. That takes patience. It takes patience to drag that bait slow. It takes patience to shake it in place for a while. It takes patience to not do anything to that bait as it sits there in the water. Fishing is not luck. There's a lot of skill involved. There's reasons why certain fishermen have become the best, because they're able to catch them a lot more often than the next person. So being persistent, being patient, and being driven to go out there and become a better fisherman is key, and it's going to set you up for the most success. If I had to pick one technique that I would recommend you go out and learn right now, it would be the drop shot. So if you want to learn more about the drop shot, make sure to click on the video or the playlist that's on the screen right now so I can help you get dialed in on the drop shot.